What's going on, guys? It's Yugi Bros, and today I'm bringing the long-awaited top 5 video for what I think to be the best Archetype-specific cards that came out of the Streets of Battle City box. Before we begin, there's a few comments I've got on other top 5 videos suggesting certain cards that I missed for like the best impactfuls and stuff like that. And to answer the question, those cards that people suggested are most likely going to show up on this one. I wanted to save this for specific Archetype cards versus just generic playable things and everything. So going into the first, we actually have two cards, and that is Gearfried the Red Eyes Iron Knight and Red Eyes Baby Dragon. Now, why both of these? I don't want to give the spotlight to two Red Eyes cards. However, I do think that these cards make something like Red Eyes really, really powerful. Also, however, in another video, I will cover this more in depth, but these two cards are an arguable engine in a lot of decks right now. Because you can play Baby, Baby will die and you can summon Gearfried. Now I'll explain what these do. Baby is a level 3 Dark Dragon, 12 attack, 700 defense that says if it dies by battle and is sent to the grave, you can special summon a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, and if you do, equip this card from the grave to it. It gains 300 attack. If this card is sent to the grave while equipped to a monster, you can add a level 1 dragon monster from your deck or grave to your hand. Now this card is crazy twofold. One, it's a recruiter, right? It floats into another Red Eyes, and the restriction is 7 or lower, so you can summon stuff like Red Eyes Black Dragon, the normal monster, or stuff like, for example, this Gearfried. And what's nuts about this is Gearfried, who is a level 4 Dark Warrior, 18 attack, 16 defense, says once per turn, if either player equips an equip card to this card, you can destroy those equip cards, then destroy one spell or trap your opponent controls. That effect doesn't target, which is nuts, but the other fact is that it destroys the equip card equipped to it, aka Red Eyes Baby Dragon, if you summoned Gearfried off the baby and then equipped the baby. So then you would destroy a spell or trap they control. Realistically, this is all happening in their battle phase, and since they have to set before they attack, since there's no main phase 2 in Speed Duels, this card's even stronger in the sense that anything they had to set that can't be activated this turn is then just automatically destroyed by this Gearfried. And then because Baby was destroyed as an equipped, you get to add a level 1 dragon from deck or grave. The only two targets currently in Speed Duels are Black Dragon's Chick and Black Metal Dragon, but by playing Black Metal Dragon with these two cards in almost any deck, you have Black Metal's effect later on to either search another Red Eyes card and or be destroyed through Gearfried's effect, since you can equip the Black Metal from hand to it, pop something, or use Gearfried's other effect, which is once per turn you can send an equip card you control that is equipped to this card at the grave, target a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your grave and special summon it. And then Black Metal will trigger adding any Red Eyes card, and you can kind of do the loop all over again. The fact that both of these were added to speed at the same time is insane to me, and unless one of them, in my opinion, Gearfried, goes to 1 on the Limit 1 list going forward, this is going to be the arguable engine to be reckoned with in a lot of decks going forward. And it's kind of insane. Gearfried's effect is a soft once per turn for both effects. Baby Dragon isn't even a hard or soft once per turn. And it's just insane the amount of advantage you can generate off just these two cards, and a Black Metal Dragon, of course. But back to Red Eyes, it facilitates so much in Red Eyes, especially with the skill Forged Steel, as you guys have probably seen in my Red Eyes duel video from a couple weeks ago. You can go Baby, Crash, summon Gearfried, equip Baby, Gearfried pop Baby, pop a spell or trap they control, Baby search Black Metal, go into your turn, equip Black Metal to Gearfried, Gearfried trigger, pop the baby, hit another spell or trap, or you can use Gearfried's other effect to reborn the baby from the graveyard by sending the Black Metal. Black Metal then triggers adding Red Eyes Darkness Dragon from your deck to your hand if you didn't do that previously. Then use Forged Steel, turn the Gearfried into a Red Eyes Black Dragon monster, tribute it to the graveyard for the Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, and the Darkness Dragon brings back whatever dragon you want from the graveyard through Forged Steel's effect that basically treats it as watered down Darkness Metal Dragon by reborning a dragon that can be normal summoner set from your graveyard. It facilitates so much. It's crazy that we got both of these in the same box. But without going into much detail further on, these cards are insane. And again, didn't want to put them in the generic Archetype video because they do fit into an Archetype, being Red Eyes Black Dragon. But you could play them arguably in any deck, and it's been apparent on a lot of speed replays. If you go online right now, a lot of speed duel tournaments have had these two cards just run rampant over the format so far. So scary nonetheless, but will be interesting to see where they go going forward. Going into my next card, it's Dark Renewal. Dark Renewal is the normal trap from the new box that says when your opponent normally special summons a monsters, target one of those monsters and one spellcaster monster you control, send both monsters to the grave, then you can special summon one dark spellcaster monster from your deck or graveyard. So again, if you've seen my replay video from a couple weeks ago, Dark Magician gets a lot with this card in the sense that you can basically send any spellcaster you control and any monster they summon to the grave to bring out your dark spellcaster from deck or graveyard. However, what's crazy with this is that the dark spellcasters in question in Speed Duels specifically are not limited to just Dark Magician. Instead, you actually have a lot of different options. Notably, you have also Dark Magician Girl, but more relevant, you have stuff like Magical Marionette, Dark Red Enchanter, any of the Gravekeepers, Illusionist Faceless Magician for all you Relinquish fans out there, Lord of D, Skilled Dark, and Skilled Red. The list goes on, and honestly, you can make a whole lot of different cool ideas with a lot of different options here that this card facilitates. And I think it's A really good spot removal card, but B, allows a lot of decks that otherwise wouldn't be super relevant to have a new strategy. I'm going to suggest tunes here very quickly if you guys have seen my most recent duel video where I Dark Renewal my opponent's monster and a spellcaster I control bring out Toon Dark Magician. Toon Dark Magician normally would have the downside of that it can't attack the turn it's summoned, but because it's summoned usually on the opponent's turn when they summon, you pass the summoning sickness requirement, and then when you go into your turn you are free to do whatever you want with the card, and it kind of facilitates decks like that otherwise wouldn't have much going for them to kind of have a new angle, so to speak. So that's why I really like Dark Renewal out of this new box, and I think this card really plays into a lot of dark spellcaster strategies moving forward. The next one I have is Token Sunday, and originally I had this card on my generics list, but it's not super generic. Obviously you have to play a deck with tokens. We've seen two as of recent, my Revival Jam breeding machine deck type thing with the slime tokens, but most notably in the skill My Precious Queen, which has been taking a lot of different tournaments as of late. You can facilitate that card in a lot of different things, but we'll talk about that in a top 5 skills video in the future. But Token Sunday can make the most relevance of that card, which is destroy as many tokens you control as possible, then destroy cards on the field up to the number of tokens destroyed by this effect. So you destroy all the tokens. So let's say you had 2 tokens on your field. You destroy the tokens, and then you destroy cards on the field up to the number of tokens destroyed by this effect. Keep in mind you have to do at least 1. So if for some reason the opponent removes all their cards from the field before this card's resolving, you have to destroy at least 1 of your cards. But aside from that, this card doesn't target, so you have the ability to pop any cards on the field. They're going to have to respond to this before this card resolves, otherwise they don't have a chance to respond because it doesn't target. So let's say in the case of your opponent, let's say they have 3 back row. If they want to use one of those cards and not chance it being destroyed, they're going to have to do it on the activation of Token Sunday. If they don't, and Token Sunday resolves and you can destroy 2 of their 3 back row, they now can't chain those back row because this card doesn't target. In addition, this card doesn't care about cards like Obelisk the Tormentor, who is normally immune to targeting, because it doesn't target, so you can just flat out knock it off a field. Card is ridiculous for sure, and in a deck that plays the skill My Precious Queen, you get a token every end phase, not even your end phase, so this card is at least going to pop 1 card every time you draw it. Doesn't matter how many Token Sundays you play in the deck, realistically, it'll always be live. The 4th card on this list is Birthright. Birthright is a continuous trap card that reads, activate this card by targeting 1 normal monster in your graveyard. That's the cost. Special summon that target in attack position. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. When that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. This card literally reads like Call of the Haunted, but only for normal monsters. A key difference, however, is that Call of the Haunted says when that monster is destroyed, destroy this card, whereas Birthright says when that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. So if you tribute the monster, for example, off of Birthright, Birthright will still be destroyed, where if you tribute a monster off Call of the Haunted will stay because the monster wasn't destroyed, it was tributed. But having a Call of the Haunted for normal monsters is really strong in speed. There's a lot of different ways to facilitate normal monsters in this game currently, and a lot of skills that make normal monsters that would normally suck pretty relevant. So having the ability to bring something back from the graveyard and have it not die, for example, from like Swing of Memories at the end phase, is really strong. Yes, the downside is it's a trap, so you do have to wait a turn, but in Speed Duels, that's perfectly fine. In a lot of decks, you can wait a turn and then flip this to bring back anything. And it doesn't have a level restriction either, so bringing something like Blue Eyes White Dragon back from the grave is very easy with a card like this. The last one I have on this list is my good old homeboy, Warrior of Atlantis. Is Fish Depth Charge. I would love to talk about Warrior of Atlantis. I think the card's really, really good, but it's obviously only good for one deck. And I actually think Fish Depth Charge is a better card to showcase here since it works in more than one deck. This card says tribute one fish monster, then target one card in the field, destroy that target, and if you do, draw one card. So it trades for itself and the card you tribute by destroying a card they control and drawing you one card. And this is pretty good in a fish deck. Yes, we don't have a whole lot of fish in Speed Duels as of yet, but we did just get 5 new additions in Fly Fang, Needle Sunfish, Oyster Meister, Piercing Moray, and the new normal monster we got, which is 7 colored fish. In addition, we already had stuff like Unshaven Angler, Fishboard Planter, and Terror King Salmon, as well as the good old OG Fortress Whale, aka Moby Thick. So you best believe we can definitely make a deck with Fish Depth Charge and a fish deck in general going forward. We're just going to have to mess around with ideas for sure, but nevertheless, the more fish we get, the better this card gets, and this card is pretty strong already, so we'll have to mess around with it for sure. But guys, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below for the best 5 archetypal cards out of the Streets box. Do you agree, disagree? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.
For more amazing Speed Duel content, subscribe to Yugi Bros. It's time to duel!